This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to see you here. I feel very fortunate to be at the Virgin Academy and work with all of you. This has been a really rewarding experience for me. So, my name is Sharen Wiltshire. The name of my project is called Data Vista, turning data that's on the horizon into insights into action through business process analytics. So the deliverables for this presentation is going to be what data Vista audience are, the whys, why will a company would be have a need for a data Vista. And then we're going to talk about the context of what business process analytics is or means to a business owner. And then I want to give an example of what data Vista can perform in. And then we're going to talk about the problem that data Vista can solve, and then some of the solution and outcomes and opportunity that data Vista can bring. And then we're going to talk about the tools and the insights for the tools from the business process analytics. And then we have questions at the end. So the audience that Data Vista is targeted is any process-driven organization using some type of tracking tool. And so, for instance, in IT service management, that you might have something like ServiceNow, or you might have a project management consultants that might use Microsoft Project or they use Salesforce. And then other companies that like supply chains, insurance claim processing, billing department. And you want to visualize this as any industry that has a process that starts from the beginning and goes to different stages or state to the end. And so what are the whys? Why would you want to use Data Vista? And number one is operational efficiency, improve customer satisfaction, better internal audit, better workflow and governance of the data, proactive management, proactive problem management, and we'll go into details on that. And then a supplemental tool to KPI dashboard. And if you can provide better productivity, then you can improve the employee morale. So let's talk about what business process analytics means. And I found this article on medium.com, and I thought it was very relevant to what Data Vista. Data integration and ETL, extracting information flow, can be used by the process analytics in order to integrate several data sources along the end-to-end process. And so if you look on to the left-hand side, starting with the data integration, you can go from data integration to analytic mining and mining, machine learning, visualization, domain knowledge, process modeling, and business process management. And this is a cycle for process analytics. And so what some of the benefits from process mining was very relevant to this presentation. It's a process map and discovery. So from event logs or tasks or processes, the process mining techniques allow describing, modeling actual processes that are being run in the company. And then you have conformance checking. Having a precise document trail of process execution allow identifying the conformance within an established compliant procedure. And if you're familiar with IT service management, something like that would be something called service level agreement. And then the very interesting about what process mining can do is the throughput, time, and bottleneck detection. Not only possible to model the sequence of tasks, events, or processes, but also determine the intensity of the execution and the throughput and the overhead time, simulating, predicting, and identifying bottlenecks. So here's an example of what Vista can do. So what I use for this presentation is IT service management. And just to give you just an idea of what that is all the activities directed by policies, processes, procedures that are performed by our organization to design, plan, and deliver, operate, and control information technology services to the customers. And then one of the most common ITM tool is managing tickets, whether there are an incident, which is a break fix, or is a request. And so with a service level agreement, which is a agreed upon established commitment between the business and the IT service model, you can have the expected response time and expected resolution time for an incident or request. So this given an example, you have a criminal court judge calling the customer care center and saying they are rated, and they're saying that their smart board is not working in the courtroom during a high profile case. So you have an impact, the urgency, and the priority for a particular event. So some of the problems that Vista can resolve is reactive problem management. Oftentimes people will say, I'm too busy because I'm too busy chasing service tickets. And another one is performance. If you have poor performance, you have poor service delivery. Another problem that Vista can solve is bottlenecks in cross department areas when you go from one team to another team and there are delays. Working processes. How can you fix what you don't see? How can you fix what you can't see? And then the reputation of not meeting the SLA. So what's some of the outcomes, the solutions, the opportunities that Vista can bring? With the process mining through machine learning detection deviation, and starting over into the lower right, you can, for IT service management, you can have a shorter resolution time. You can have a higher resolution rate, fewer incidents, and all that is done by proactive problem management. So, and then you can create a better data governance, making sure that what is required in the data, it gets managed. You can have a higher customer satisfaction, and you can build a better service model. And so when a company can create a service model that is attainable and achievable at a higher success rate, then they can get more businesses or get more customers. So some of the tools that I use for the data integration and data analytic mining with Jupyter Notebook. So basically, the data set is an event log of incident process extracted from the data gathered from the audit system of ServiceNow. So you can see that this particular data has 142,000 events. which belong to 25,000 incidents. And so you're going down, you have 36 attributes that's for that data set, and which most of them are category data. So I was able to bring in, within the data, get some ideas about how many records and how many rows. But you can see that a particular ticket will have different stages or different incident states. So for a ticket that's starting in with 045, you can see that it went from a new, and then it went to the resolve, and then it went to the resolve, and then it was finally closed. And then you have the second service ticket in with 047. You can see that it was open, it was from new to active to active to active to active, active, awaiting user information, and user then got resolved and closed. For each event, it is capturing information of how many times the tickets were reassigned, how many times we opened, whether it made the service level agreement, with the caller ID, the categories and subcategories. And then you can do a calculation to see from the open date until the close date, the resolution time. So just to get sort of immediate insight to this tickets, I did a value count of each incident state. So you can see that ticket was active 38 or 39,000 times, and it was in the new incident state for 36,000 times, and the resolve for 26,000 times, close 25,000 times, and then waiting information 15,000 times, waiting vendor 707, awaiting problem 461, awaiting evidence. So to give a little more insight, I wanted to see what was the average, what was the mean of the resolution time based on the event. So let's just assume that your organization's service level agreement resolution time for an incident is 5 business days. And to the left, I had the incident state, which is active, awaiting evidence, awaiting problem, awaiting user information, awaiting vendor, closed, new, resolved. And the second column is the mean time of the resolution. Excuse me. Now you can immediately see that the company is not meeting their SLA, which is 5 business days. And so you can see that the ticket that was in the active state was 18, mean time was 18 days. Waiting evidence is 136 days. The mean time for waiting problem was 39 days. So, but then just to, and I could go through every one of those, but if you go to the plot, a IT director or business owner can immediately see that awaiting some of the ticket that was in the awaiting evidence incident state is the mean time is extremely high, which is like 136 days. And then you can see that awaiting a vendor, a ticket that was in the awaiting vendor incident stage, it was taking about 121 days. So immediately for an IT director, they can start asking questions. This is where you take insight into the data and start making and turn it into action. So to get more insight into the data, again, resolution time, is 5 days for incident, and you want to look at the priority of the for each ticket, is that you see that the priority is based upon critical, high, moderate, and low. So the priority is calculated by the system based on the impact and urgency. So we have the impact caused by the incident, so it would be high, medium, or low. We have the urgency that the user requests for a resolution, which is high, medium, and low. And again, you can get insight is that the ticket that has a critical priority took the mean time was 15 days. The ticket that was in the high priority, it took around 12 days. So again, the business owner or the IT director said, okay, why is it that a critical ticket that has a critical priority is taking longer, takes longer on average than a ticket that has a high priority? So then I did a box plot for the instance state. So across the bottom, you have the active, awaiting evidence, awaiting problems, awaiting user information, vendor, close, new, and resolve. And you can immediately see that there's a lot of abnormalities in each one of, well, not each one of the states, but the one that is like active, awaiting problem, awaiting user information. Again, this is insight that you can turn into action to start asking questions. Why is something is user information? What information they're trying to gather? They maybe need to come up with a different process to gather that information.
It's interesting that the one with the most highest resolution days have no anomalies. Right? Awaiting evidence and awaiting vendor do not have outliers. The rest of them have a lot of outliers.
Yes. So at this stage in the data science life cycle for Data Vista, we have a better understanding of the business and now we most of the time we're spent on the data acquisition and understanding, doing some cleanup of the data, doing some wrangling. I had to one of the things I had to work on was the dates, time in the data for open and close and resolve was in different formats. So I had to import I think it's called date time, and to convert it into a format that be able to use to make calculations for the resolution time. So, and then we go into the modeling. I try to look at linear regression. And once I did the linear regression on just the data alone, it was okay. But once I did the cross validation, it didn't do very well. So so then I looked at the decision tree regression, and it was a better model for it. So if I had more time, I would spend more time on doing feature engineering, trying to figure out which field that need to be used for the modeling would be great. And then once I get a very good model, then I would go into deployment where I can try to have some type of a dashboard or a visualization tool, maybe using Power BI or Tableau. So There are always going to be a need for business process analysis, and Vista can be the process continuity tool for companies trying to get better at oneself. And two examples that came into mind when I was working on this project. I have a friend that works for Spectrum. She started there in April, and she and I were talking about my project. And she was sharing with me that at Spectrum, their resolution time is 48 hours. So a ticket came in, if she's called the customer care center at 8 o'clock, then the ticket would be closed by 5 p.m. the following day. That tells me that the company spent some time into looking at their data and getting some insight to manage the processes. And then the second scenario was that I went to a job fair at JP Morgan Chase. So I was talking to the lady there about the manager there about their IT support. And what she shared with me was that in the 2 to 3 years that she had been at JP Morgan Chase, she had not seen a support technician more than 15 minutes. And so she said, whatever their incident, their problem is resolved almost instantaneously. So companies can use business process analysis to continue to improve themselves, to get their resolution or get their IT service management to a fewer service tickets and reduce the resolution time. All right, do you have any questions?
Question about your data. Some of the average time in the state seems real unusually large. What company's data from again?
This was from ServiceNow, and the data was from a company in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yes. But you can see where that if it's a company in the United States, probably the resolution time is going to be probably more in alignment with the SLA. I know SLAs are very important to the companies because if you don't manage it or you don't maintain it, then they could use the customers, or then you lose your reputation of being a good service provider.
And why did you choose this data set?
Why I choose this data set?
Or why this company? Like, is that the only company data?
Yeah, that's the only one I could find. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that your results were good when you applied a machine learning model. What was your accuracy?
It was 9.0.
90.0?
Yeah, but that was on training on the same data. So if I did train test split, it wasn't very good. When I did the cross validation, it wasn't very good. So I probably need to get more realistic data to be able to do a better prediction on the model.
Anybody else? Good job.
Oh, thank you.
It was the date was huge, right? The formatting of the date, coming up with the resolutions. There was couple of other things you did that were unique in time series analysis. Right? You did a little bit of time series. You did not put time series in there in your PowerPoints.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should have put that in there.
Yeah, there was some good insights on time series analysis. There was something else around your questions around Celonis. Right? You had a couple of questions around the product called Celonis, remember?
So let's, now I don't remember.
I'll the other uh, students of divergence here understand what's known as. Well, you talked about process, right?
Right.
Process mining. So there's plenty of algorithms, new algorithms in the world of process. Those are not your everyday machine learning algorithms. Data science meets process has a totally heuristics and just the modeling around time series analysis, time series and process, business process modeling notations. So you have picked a very sophisticated topic that you can continue learning on.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that said, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.